Alright, back with another Brown Hands Tech quick review. This one should be pretty brief. Just looking at the EVO 3D. Here it is right next to the old school OG EVO 4G. And looking at them straight up, you really can't immediately tell too much of a difference. There's this new menu button here, and a slightly new design around the bezel. It has like a little metal part around the front up top here. But not too much immediately jumping out at you. If you look really close, you can tell that the EVO 3D screen is a little bit more narrow and a little bit longer than the old school EVO, which to me is really nice because it makes it just feel better in your hand. It fits in your hand a little bit better than the old one did because it's a little more thin. It's thinner and longer instead of being a little wider and shorter like the old EVO, stretching your hand out a little bit, especially if you have smaller hands. The other thing that jumps out at you immediately, of course, is the shutter button on the top here. So now on the side, you still have the volume button. It's just like on the old EVO. But then you also have a actual camera shutter button and then your 2D, 3D switch. Around the back, you see the huge difference is the dual 5 megapixel cameras for 3D pictures. When it's taking regular 2D pictures or 2D video, you just use this top camera here. Still kept that red ring around it, like the old EVO, and then of course the lack of a kickstand, which I'm actually kind of missing a little bit. The other thing you probably can't see too good in this video is that there's this nice like line texture on the back of here that kind of gives you grip when you're holding the phone, so it just feels really good, really like a nice finish, more of a quality look kind of feel to it than the original EVO with this weird little plastic back they put on here. So the phone itself just feels a lot more quality in your hand. It just feels a little bit better, less creaky. I know the other battery can squeak and stuff sometimes, the other battery door. I'm on the other side where the other EVO had nothing. You'll find the charge port, which is also combined for the HDMI. I think it's called an MHL port. So it lets you use a new type of cord that fits into like a universal slot for USB and HDMI output all in one slot. So you will have to get a new cord if you have the old HDMI cord from the EVO 4G. So along the bottom there's nothing here except for the mic on the new EVO and a little slit to open the battery door, whereas the other one had the mic and the HDMI and the USB. Then up top got the same headphone jack, nice little metal trim around it now, same power button. People were complaining about the power button. I haven't really felt anything, like they were saying it didn't like how it feels fine to me. I don't know, I'm probably just not as picky. And then also there's a second mic on top for noise cancellation, so that's pretty cool. The other thing you notice immediately is some of the new Sense 3.0 improvements. So instead of just having the regular pull down lock screen, you have this lock screen where you can pull up the bar and go into your regular home screen or ring, I guess, or you can pull down a specific app and launch into that app directly. So that's pretty sweet. And you can choose which apps go in there, and as you see, it's just really quick, really snappy. Everything you do on here is pretty fast, and that's due to that 1.2 gigahertz dual core processor. So instead of having just the 1 gigahertz processor, it has a 1.2 gigahertz dual core processor. So it's going to be a lot faster than the original EVO in pretty much every regard. I will say out of the box, it was like completely no lag. But I've already started loading stuff down in here and I see it slowing down a little bit, but it's still really fast. Another nice thing in Sense 3.0 is that you can now pull down your bar instead of just having the regular notification screen. You can also get your recent apps. So recent apps that you've used come up here at the top, and then also there is this quick settings where you can hit that tab and quickly change your Wi-Fi, 4G, all that kind of stuff. So that was something that I liked a lot. Like a lot of the hacked ROMs I used to use for my EVO would add that functionality in. So it's nice to get that by default. They also have added a lot of stuff where you can change your settings a little more easily. So you can go in and change your wallpaper, change your lock screen, etc., right from just hitting the home screen. Nice 3D effects when you rotate from screen to screen. So it might be a little hard to see because I don't have that many apps on here, but as you rotate from screen to screen, you can kind of see there on the edge how it gives you kind of as if you are actually turning it from screen to screen. Additionally, when you get to your last screen, so you see down here I'm at my last screen, but then when I go one more, it just takes me over to the other side. So it loops you around, and if you flick them, you get I think they're calling it a carousel, where it kind of spins through all your screens. I don't really know how useful that is, but maybe I'll get better at timing it as I use it. You know, initial impressions are I'm really impressed actually. The 2D camera I think is much better than the EVO 4G's camera, even though it's a 5 megapixel camera instead of an 8 megapixel. It does have a better improved sensor, so it's actually picking up better pictures. The color seems a little more clear, a little more crisp. Even as I have them right next to each other, you can see the screen is just a little more vibrant, a little bit more bright. The color seems to be a little more true, and then because it's that QHD screen, so it's a much higher pixel density, more crisp, more clear screen. You can see the difference in the size of the images on the screen. You can just fit more onto this screen than you could fit on the original EVO. 3D is not really going to show up that much. They have some sample 3D pics. I took a couple 3D pics and videos. Let's see, I'll do some of their sample ones. You're not going to really actually be able to see the 3D through your camera. Some people are complaining that it hurt their eyes. For me, it's not really hurting my eyes. I'm getting the trick of, you know, how to line it up and see it. And as I'm looking at this now on your screen, you can probably see it kind of moving. For me, it's actually 3D, and it's pretty crazy. It's a little trippy. Like, I was watching some videos on YouTube today, and those were pretty impressive. It also comes loaded with the Green Hornet, but I had to do an update for that to work, and I'm not going to do that update right now. Yeah, impressed by the Spider-Man 3D game demo that came on here. But again, you're not going to actually be able to see the 3D. Wish it was the full game, but it's just a demo, but it's a pretty cool demo. See, yeah, even this part is in kind of 3D, but the trick with this no glasses or glasses free 3D is that you kind of have to be looking right at the right angle, and it doesn't work through camera, so you get that kind of wavy effect when you look at it. But really impressive. This is just the beginning, so I'm really interested to see where they take this and where they go with this. But all in all, man, really impressed. Now, one of the things I really like, and one of the things you wanted in addition to the dual core and the improved screen, wasn't even a 3D. It was the dual core, the improved screen, bigger battery. So it's a 17, I think like 1750 or something like that, mega amp hours or whatever that stands for, versus the 1500 in the old EVO. I haven't had enough time to test battery life and really see how much of a difference that makes, but I'm hearing it's about the same. But I really like this actual dedicated button. I mean, it's really nice, it's really solid, it's dual. If you've ever used a real point and shoot camera where you can kind of push down to focus and then push it again to actually take the picture, you get that exact same feeling on here. You can hold it down to quick launch into the camera, and it loads up pretty quick. I have to say it takes better 2D pictures, and it takes them quicker than the old EVO. So, and like I said, the nice part about it is that you can press down like halfway to get it to focus, and then the rest of the way to actually take the pic. So it's nice to have a real camera. I know for me, a lot of times messing around with the EVO, trying to push the on-screen one, especially if, you know, I use it as my main camera, and especially if you're on a trip or something, trying to hold the phone up and push the button at the same time, it can be kind of difficult sometimes. So it's nice to have an actual dedicated button. And then again, that's the switch between 2D and 3D. Let me go ahead and hit that for you. Again, you're not going to be able to see it, but you can kind of see the little flicker you saw on the screen was just it switching between 2D and 3D. So really impressed with this so far, honestly. 3D aside, it's already, you know, worth the upgrade. And then when you add the 3D in, if that's something you're interested in, it's a nice icing on top of the cake. But that's more or less it. You know, as I play with it, I'll be sure to post any more videos with anything new. There are a lot of little sense updates that, you know, here and there throughout the OS that, you know, add to the experience, but definitely a worthwhile upgrade if you're coming from the EVO or pretty much any other Android phone, in my opinion. And like I said, I'm going to keep playing with it, and I'll post more videos. Thanks.